Hello, 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 and welcome to the Human Experience. I am your host at True Him, and this week we have the great fortune of having an individual that I have known for over, I would say, 15 to 20 years of my life, maybe even more than that. We grew up together. And for those who are just experiencing what this is the human experience, where I ask 7 questions that allow someone to compassionately express themselves so that you, the viewer, are able to experience the compassion that resides within this individual. And this week, I have a great friend by the name of Lenny G. Lenny is the owner, the proprietor, and the lead smoker of Hail Mary Jane, a world-renowned cannabis culture blog that ingrains media, cannabis news. I would say the frontier of what's next in the cannabis industry, and it's just overall entertainment for those that like to partake in that thing which they do and roll up or actually eat up or ingest in some type of way. And I am very fortunate to be able to have this gentleman on this particular week. And like I said, I've known Lenny for over since we were kids. We actually grew up practicing Buddhism together, and we were little rugrats running around community centers back in Jersey. And he is a Jersey boy, and so I would like to first jump into this by saying that this show is dedicated that this show is dedicated to
this is the human experience.
Yeah, in a very real way. This show is dedicated to a lady who I considered a Buddha auntie, who I was with Lenny and found out that she had passed away in a car accident. So I want to dedicate this show to her because I was able to learn what faith in action is really like. And this woman was able to really exude that. And the things that I was able to learn from her about how to have resounding faith is going to last me the rest of my lifetime. And I'm so very appreciative of Miss Lauren Cozine in my life. And so now, enough about me. What's up, Lenny? Let the world know who you are.
What's going on? I'm Lenny with HailMaryJane.com. I'm sorry, I'm hearing an echo on my line now. Hold on, let me see if I can figure this out. Yeah, so I'm Lenny with HailMaryJane.com. Hail Mary Jane is a cannabis culture and urban lifestyle publication founded in 2008. We write about what's hot in the cannabis industry, so people, products, and companies. And we do travel to a lot of cannabis events, and we network and make connections with various companies within the industry, whether it's like growers or dispensaries or extract makers or edible makers or whatever. We've made a lot of connections within the industry. We go to a lot of music events and we cover all of this stuff. We also post all of this stuff on our event calendar so you guys can keep up with like all the events that are happening. And we try to be on top of like everything that's going on in the progression of this industry. We also shoot a weekly podcast as well. So thank you for having us on having me on your podcast. I appreciate that. And RIP to Lauren.
Word. I mean, actually, the human experience actually kind of started. There were 2 people that were integral in having the human experience come to fruition. It was another homie that I grew up with named Carlito the Barber, and yourself. And so I thank you for that because had I not been issued that challenge, I don't think that I would have been as consistent or even jumped into this endeavor like that. It was really based upon the challenges that were set to me by you all that had me actually, come in and create the human experience so that we can have this platform to interact with the world. And so, the idea of the human experience, like I said, it's 7 questions that help you to express yourself to the world.
Mhm.
And so we'll just jump right into it.
Well, hold on. I wanted to say before we go into that, I appreciate you sharing that, and then in general, like I think it all comes back around. Like we shoot our show, and like there are. That show is called Fired Up. You can find it on SoundCloud, and basically, but like we're in the process of searching for the best way to move forward, because there's been some transition in the ownership at the studio, and it has nothing to do with us. But like they're getting into arguments, and they're basically like in the process of trying to figure out what the next step is with the studio. So like, I don't know if we're going to continue, but I love to see this platform and see like you doing this and see you being consistent with this and see like you taking it seriously, like it's definitely more human experiences to experience. Don't worry about it. It's all
Very
good.
much so.
We're experiencing humanity like 100%.
And actually, that's part of the undertaking here, right? Because one of the themes is being able to, once you are committed to doing something, no matter what shows up in your life to try to sway that commitment, and no matter what it looks like, it actually speaks to this saying that I have that I don't need to be perfect. I just have to be dynamic. And that means that I add power to anything that it is that I choose to do and committed to do it. And so regardless of what's going on in the background or whatever, I'm locked into making sure that the audience gets an experience from the person that I'm interviewing. So no matter what's going on, whether it be technical difficulties, whether it be birds flying through, whether it be people walking in, watering plants, whatever that may be, that just adds to the experience and the commitment to make sure that I pull the best out of it.
Yeah, so, you got to give that experience. And I mean, that's how it is a lot of the time. There are unexpected things that happen. You just have to be able to roll with the punches.
Word. And so the first question that I actually have for you in this human experience is, pregunta número 1 es, which do you trust more, your heart or your brain?
I mean, I feel like your heart is closer to what you really want, and it knows what you really want. I feel like I'm a very logical person, though, so it's difficult for me to even hear that sometimes. I would say that ever since I started smoking weed, to be honest with you, it's been something that's connected me to my heart more so than I think anything any one thing I could say that I've experienced, just the experience of having that, it's helped me to connect with my emotions, and it's helped me to connect with my heart, which I feel like your heart encompasses like more, it encompasses like your spirituality, it encompasses your emotions, and like your brain is it's more mental, it's more logical, and it's going to always try to figure things out. And it more or less it's very difficult for me to make my heart be more powerful or be more of like a focus than my brain. But on the same note, I understand that I'm learning more and more every day that like it's really the heart that matters. Like it's really the heart that matters, and really like that's, like I said, I just feel like that's closer to what your actual mission is, and that's closer to what like you actually are supposed to be doing And like that's where you will get the most important messages. That's why like when I'm chanting sometimes, like I'll try to, I don't try to do this all the time now. I try to keep my eyes open more than I did before, but I'll definitely spend a lot of time going through my subconscious and really like I feel like I'm going into my heart like when I do that, and like, you know, just really explore what's there and what I can learn from that and what I can learn from my own intuition, because I feel like, you know, your intuition and your heart, like they know who you truly want to be.
Yeah, you know, and in that, you know, I have this. I'm definitely I allow my heart to do the thinking, and let my brain work it. I work it in that manner. So I work from the heart up instead of the brain down. You know, and uh, allow that to dictate the intentions that I have, and then I let my brain work out what it is that my heart is feeling, so that I can bring that into fruition. You know, and that's what's up. You know, so you're saying that the use of cannabis has helped you to express and get into your heart a little bit more. Elaborate a little bit more upon that particular point.
Um, I mean, just for me, like I feel like my brain has always been such to where like it goes like a mile a minute. I'm always thinking a lot, and I'm always like thinking about a lot of things and trying to like get a lot of things done. I always have a lot on my mind, and there's always a lot going on in my life. This is a consistency, and so I mean, cannabis just helps me sometimes to just slow down and just be in the moment and appreciate the moment. But on the same note, I don't really feel like, I feel like the heart is more important, but I feel like if you just going based off of your emotion and just off of your heart, like that's not always going to lead you to where you need to be. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we've all experienced situations where like our heart has like, or not our heart, but just I feel like more like our emotions has made us either say or do things that we didn't want to do, or we like look back on and we're like, damn, like that's not really like what was I thinking kind of thing. But like I don't know why people say what was I thinking, because you weren't really thinking. Your heart was controlling, your emotions were controlling you. And I feel like there needs to be a balance. But on the same note, like so I feel like, all right, I feel like before I was far too logical. I feel like there have been times where like when I get emotional, I get far too emotional. I feel like there needs to be a balance, you know what I mean? Of like using your brain and using it because it's an amazing resource to have, but then also, you know, understanding and knowing and acknowledging that, like, you know, that when that thing in your heart tells you like this is what I'm supposed to do, like, and it's really something that's like real, and you can feel it when it's real, or when it's just like, you know, you can feel it when it's real. Like, you gotta know when to say, fuck it, I'm gonna just do it, you know?
Word. And so I'm just gonna do the next question. That's what
Well,
you know.
one other thing I wanna put in there too. I mean, you can go into the next question, but one other thing I want to put in there actually that answers your question a little bit more now that I think.
Can you fix your screen a little bit? Your face isn't in it.
Okay. One thing I want to emphasize and put in there that I think answers your question a little bit more is I feel like for me, starting HMJ was definitely something that, like, you know, like from smoking and like really like just allowing it to remove all of my remove my self-doubts and remove like my limitations and remove those kind of things. It allowed my heart to feel free, you know. And so and I feel like the only, like, I came up with HMJ when I was high, and it was something that, like, you know, like I feel like when you're in that life state, like you can reach higher levels of personal enlightenment. That's my opinion. But yeah, no, you can go on to the next.
Higher levels of higher enlightenment. Okay. And so the next question is, Is it better to have beauty or be beautiful?
I don't really know what the difference of that is. I mean, I think probably have beauty because, I mean, that's something that's not going to fade over time, hopefully. Um, but I mean, I think ideally you want to have both if possible. You would like to be hot. Everybody wants to be attractive. But, we all have that one friend that like is like a good friend, but like, and they may even want, the chick may want you. She may be trying to get it, but like, she's just like, I don't know, she's just not what you're looking for. I'll put it that way.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so, it's a situation where I think that like having beauty, that's more the internal. Being beautiful is more the external. We live in a superficial world where the externals matter a lot. And I don't think that anybody would be crazy, even if they're very spiritual and very like, I think even President Keita wouldn't deny that like your outward appearance like matters, like that matters, like it just does. Like
Who's President Ikeda?
President Keita is the president of our Buddhist organization. He's a Buddhist philosopher and writer, prolific writer, and world traveled peace activist. He writes proposals to the United Nations every year for the abolishment of nuclear weapons.
Okay. Cool. I mean, I just said that because there may be some people out there who have no idea who
I
that
feel
person.
like you guys should Google President Daisaku Ikeda, DAISAKUIKEDA.
Word. And so, like, going back to the having beauty and being beautiful, I mean, that's definitely it's an interesting conversation because actually it's really about having something and being something, and the difference between when you have something and when you are being something. And I feel as though it's always better to be something than to have something, because you have it, that doesn't mean you're going to always use it. That doesn't, it can sit away and it can wither and it can go away. But when you're being something, that means you're embodying that throughout the whole totality of yourself. So that is who you actually are showing up as and what people are recognizing you for, because it's in action. That's energy in motion. And so, that's what that is. So when you're being beautiful, it doesn't matter what you look like. When you're being beautiful, people see that and receive that from you, and it doesn't have anything to do with your looks. It just has everything to do with the fixed way of being that is undeniable, which attracts that which just a pretty face may not ever do. And it'll hold you presence. It'll hold your presence and hold you there more when somebody is being something, because it's that energy that you can just not deny. And that's the difference between, well, for me, as in my expression of having beauty or being beautiful, and which one I feel is better. And so, when we talk about being beautiful and stuff like that, there's a real question, and this is question number 3. When was the last time you cried?
Shit. I mean, I cry pretty regularly whenever I need to. I cried yesterday with about Lauren. Like, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with crying. I don't feel like it makes you any less of a man. I feel like it makes you more of a man to be able to understand and be able to grasp your emotions. I feel like too often we try to sit there and act like our emotions are not actually controlling what the fuck we're doing, holding that shit in, trying to act all tough with our pride. And then that shit takes over. And then you get super fucking angry or super emotional over some shit. And then you do some dumb shit. Like, as guys, we need to understand that, like, we are mental spiritual, physical, and emotional beings. Like all of those are parts of us. So for you to deny your spirituality or for you to deny your emotions is just unrealistic and it's silly. And like, I think that we need to just go ahead and let those stigmas go about guys crying, because that shit is fucking ridiculous. Like, knock it off.
Okay.
I don't think that makes you any less of a man, you know?
All right.
And I really yesterday too, like I really needed to, I didn't think I was gonna even cry yesterday. And if we didn't go to her house, I probably wouldn't have. But like I felt so much of a release after that. Like after we chanted at her house, we chanted Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. You guys listen to the show, I'm sure Himyo's probably mentioned that before. True him.
We went through this before on Fired Up.
That's why I'm yeah. So, True him definitely has expressed that before. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. But I forgot where I was going with that. Where was I going with that?
The last time you cried. And
oh yeah, no, it was yesterday I was in front of her house. Like I just feel like I needed to release that, you know? And like, I mean, I felt way less like fucked up about it after. I just felt like, you know, like just like when we went to the ocean after, like let it flow. And once that shit flows, it's out of you. It's no longer in you anymore. You're not fucking carrying that baggage around and shit. It's like sludge or extra shit that you're carrying on. Like you just got a backpack, emotional backpack that you just want to carry around with you and shit, instead of just letting it go, because we want to fucking have our pride and shit. Anyway, yeah, go on though.
Okay.
No, I'm
definitely about to cry now.
No, I'm definitely passionate about that, yo. Like I've definitely I've changed my perspective on that, and I feel like a lot of the time, like there's been times where you
meaning the proverbial you, or you?
I mean, I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to express. But I'll just say it to say, like, I just feel like people need to just let go, because I mean, I don't think that somebody sitting there and acting like that, like they're like all hard or whatever, makes them any stronger than anybody who cries if it's an appropriate situation to do it, or if they feel like they need to, if they feel like they need an emotional release. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
So you're saying because it'll be expressed in some way, and so you're saying crying can be used in a healthy manner to release those feelings that may have been pent up. That's
a very simple way of saying exactly what I said, and I love the way you put it too, because it can and will come out either way. So you can control how it's going to come out, or you can let it control you.
So when you talk about control, right, I think that actually is a great segue into the next question when you talk about control, because the question is, what are 3 words you should know in every language?
Hello? Words or phrases?
3 words.
Hello? Food, something to do with food, probably just food. I mean, just so I can encompass everybody, because I was gonna say baño, bathroom, but like you know, then I was like, I don't really need to know that. I could just, the world could be my bathroom. But like, you know, like to encompass everybody, you know, all women might not have that same situation. So I'm gonna go with hello, food, and bathroom.
Hello, food, and bathroom. Okay, so those are the words you would love to know in every single language. Hello, food, and bathroom.
I feel like if I travel in different situations, I need to know those things.
I was almost assured, based upon your your background and your culture and your love that you were going to say something that had to do with
Weed.
with weed. Yeah, I could have sworn.
I don't actually, but there are certain things like all right, I could have said weed, I could have said sex, but there are certain things that I don't think you need to speak the same language to be able to communicate. Like I could just go up to somebody and be like, and they'll know what I'm talking about. Like nobody's gonna think I was talking about a cigarette there. Like, and like I feel like I ask people this question. Let me ask you a question. So if you were, and I know what your answer is gonna be, but I want to hear what you would do if you were. Let's say you were like in the woods somewhere, and like you're having a real human experience, being like just like out there like on some like Tarzan type of shit, like that you live there. And you're walking through the woods and you come and you see a waterfall with a girl taking a bath in the waterfall. This is your first time seeing a woman in your life. Do you think that you would be able to make it happen in that scenario? And how? If you guys didn't speak the same language and you couldn't necessarily, you'd have to use body language, right?
Yeah. So wait, your question is what specifically?
How would you procreate with this female who's the first female you've seen in your life after you have grown up in the woods somewhere? Like you were raised by wolves out this bitch. Like this is a hypothetical scenario. But you're in the woods somewhere and you see a woman who you don't speak the same language as. Do you feel like you would be able to procreate with this woman?
Yes,
I do. Not forcefully.
No, I'm not down. I'm not down with the force. Yeah, unless it's like the force of the mystic law. But yeah, as far as that, I think I would be able to do that because, like you were saying, there's more than body language, and plus, I feel like I'm a pretty handsome dude in every color, so and I'm desirable by every color. So I think that there is a way for me to go swimming in both of those pools.
Okay. Oh, so I mean, so yeah, exactly. So basically, I don't think that language is a barrier when it comes to stuff like that necessarily. I mean, obviously, being able to talk helps. It does, but I don't think that it has to be an ultimate barrier.
And so with that being language, for some people it could be a barrier, and you see a lot of people, which actually makes sense for the next question, which is what scares you?
I mean, it's hard to answer that question because I don't want to say that. Excuse me, I don't want to say that. Stuff like that scares me. People telling me how to live my life scares me. And that's, my mom tells me to say excuse me. I usually say excuse me when I burp, but like, that actually pretty much emphasized exactly what it is. Like people telling me how I should live my life in any capacity. I've never been good with like rules or like, what, and I understand that in life you have to have certain guidelines, but I feel like guidelines and rules are put in place by the people in power to serve their interests. Like it's not necessarily usually for the people or for the people who are actually expected to follow these rules. Like it usually is ultimately something is benefiting them with this rule being established in this way. And so, I mean, I feel like we're interconnected. And so, I mean, there's necessity in having structure, especially if you're trying to create a society in which people can safely coexist, and it's not just like wild. And on the same note, like we just can't lose touch. It scares me that like people are really. I feel like they're either there's a lot of people that are just really disconnected from the world right now and disconnected from like what humanity really is. And I think a lot of this technology contributes to it. It's a beautiful thing. It connects us, in various ways. but then it also, you know, disconnects us in various ways too.
So you're saying that the loss of connection or being or the interconnectedness that life provides is something that scares you when you
No,
talk about rules and stuff like that? Like, what do you mean?
no, I would just say I guess to make it simple, I would say that disconnecting from yourself, you know, and situations where you're not able to be yourself and express yourself scare me. Usually, when other people tell you what to do, that's something that's imposing a like you disconnecting from whatever you naturally were doing, and then connecting to whatever it is they wanted you to do or whatever, however they wanted you to be or whatever. In general, if people are mentally, they don't feel like they can accomplish their goals mentally, I feel like that's like being disconnected from yourself. Like if your heart is telling you one thing and your brain is completely like contradicting that, and there's no way that you can find like some sort of like middle ground where you can move forward, like that's a disconnect from yourself. And like that's like that type of thing scares me, you know.
I heard this psychologist or the psychology professor actually say something about rules, and she said that to her, rules are cute suggestions. It's a very interesting take on that, because it is, you know, yes, there are rules to be followed. Life in general inherently has rules. Then there is a basis and there's a rule and there's a particular process and way for everything to be done in an efficient manner. And life presents you with that. So when you're able to know the rules and are able to still execute a life that is dealing with the basis, the fundamental levels of the rules that everyone is applicable to, then that is how we should live our lives, as opposed to turning every corner and there being all of these rules to keep us boxed in.
Yeah. I'm a habitual line stepper though, like, so I definitely will. I try to not go too far. I'm like one of I'm like either one of the goodest bad guys you've ever met or one of the baddest good guys. More like that. One of the baddest good guys you've ever met, pretty much. And so I try to not to cross and break too many rules, but like you're saying, like rules are an inherent part of life. Like there have to be some rules. It can't just be a lawless land. Like that would be wild.
Mm-hmm. And so, with that being said, then what makes you happy?
Weed, helping people. Really, hold on.
Yeah, that's why when you're like in the middle of an
Food.
interview, it's not good to eat. That's what I don't know. Those are, I guess, one of those rules, I guess, that doesn't just make sense in this particular context.
Food makes me happy. Food definitely makes me happy. Weed makes me happy. I would say, like I said, helping people, seeing people overcome their own internal suffering, seeing people connect with themselves. I have a lot of respect for people who have done things like what I've done in terms of like traveling to a different place to follow their dream, or like, you know, starting their own business, or like, you know, even if they fail, like I feel like that's real happiness. Going for it and going for what you want to go for, that's happiness. Like, and I think if we can really accept and push forward with like our dreams like that, you know, even if we do fail, 50 times, 100 times, like true happiness, I think is found in like really like that struggle of like making the changes that you need to make in order to really grow and in order to really become the person that you're meant to become. I don't feel like you're going to be happy no matter how good your job is. I feel like there's going to be a point where like almost everybody's going to like not like, I don't want to say that, because there are some people who are not like entrepreneurs and not meant to be entrepreneurs, and like they're like, that's not their mission and that's not what they even would want to do. So not everybody's path is the same, but I feel like you have to really do stuff that really like you're passionate about, you know what I mean? Like, and it really resonates with your heart. Like if you just get some bullshit job that you don't care about, that doesn't align with your mission and that doesn't align with what you're doing, then you're just like, I feel like it's a waste of time. And it makes me really unhappy to see people in those types of circumstances where they have like a job or they have things that they're committing their time to that doesn't align with who they actually are.
All right. And then we're gonna finish on this note, which is what is your purpose?
One more time.
What is your purpose?
My purpose. Okay. My purpose, I really feel like my purpose is to help people. My purpose is to free and liberate people. And I feel like it starts with me freeing my own mind and liberating myself and creating the financial freedom that will allow me to help many people. Like Bob Marley, I think, said it best when he was like, you know, he only wants to make money so that he can help plenty of people. Like, I mean, I try to help people with like whatever little bit I have whenever I can, you know, but I want to be in a position to where I can like really, really like help and support like not only my family, but like more people, like, and do it in a way where like it doesn't necessarily take away from me, you know, and I'm able to like have and maintain and increase my standard of living, but also continue to help more and more people at the same time.
Well, that, sir, has been your expression of compassion.
Okay.
And that has been what the human experience is all about. You know, 7 questions that help you express to the world who you are in a compassionate manner. And I would like to thank you for choosing to join us today here on the Human Experience, and thank you for letting the world get to know who you are in a most compassionate and expressive way. And you know, with that being said, I would like to say that I do appreciate you for being an individual that does show up amidst the things that you have going on within your life, and still choosing to be there for individuals in your life and still be of service, and staying committed to that. And that's really what this is all about, bro. It's like the way that the world heals and moves forward is by developing communities that allow for people to be who they are, and express themselves as they are, but still are attached to a particular common goal. And I think the thing that keeps us attached in that common goal is the vow that we have made to be players in actualizing world peace, and doing that in our respective manners. You within the cannabis industry, me within the activist arts world. And I think whenever it is that whenever we come to a head about anything, It is going back to that prime point of why we have been born in this world together, to be able to be Bodhisattvas of the earth, meaning actually living and spreading the teachings of Nam-myoho Renge Kyo to help bring peace to a very distraught world. And being able to come back to that as our prime point, I think, allows us to wipe the surface levels of feelings and emotions when dealing with one another. Uh, uh, for me anyway, I should say that I go back to that prime point, and then as in going back to that, it lets all the other stuff. It makes all that other stuff go away because I'm more committed to actualizing world peace than I am to any of the other petty things that one may do to make me upset or angry or make me perturbed and feeling emotional. And so, once again, thank you once again for coming on the human experience and choosing to express yourself. Um, and that's all I got. That's all I got.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I mean, I appreciate it too. We had a very real experience yesterday with the passing of our friend Lauren, and we went by her house and we prayed or basically chanted, but most people would understand it by that term. And but we did that at her house, and we went to the beach and we continued our chant, and then we saw these guys that caught an eel. They cut the eel's head off, and the eel's head was still moving, and the body was still moving, separate from each other. So, we definitely took that as a lesson that, we have to fight for our lives. Like, we have to fight for our lives every single day, like that. And that's what we're doing, by doing this is just trying to have these experiences together and these golden memories that we're going to remember, that we're going to build. And, it's good that I'm glad that you're really committed to doing this. And, I'm going to definitely do what I can to support human experience. I'm really glad that you are taking this seriously. And I think that it's a great time to get into this too.
Word. Oh, and so lastly, let the people know how they can get out to you in social media world and all that good stuff.
Okay. You can follow HailMaryJane.com. Hail Mary Jane on Facebook. If you just search Hail Mary Jane on Twitter or Instagram, you'll find it. But it's at Hail_Mary_Jane. And then also on my personal stuff is Lenny G420 on Instagram, or Lenny G420 on Snapchat. I'm big on Snapchat right now. I'm putting a lot of content on there, and I'm about to start really promoting that content throughout the site and other sources. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Word up. Well, with that being said, once again, thank you for choosing to be on the human experience, and deuces.
Peace. Thank you.
Word. And to you all, world, thank you for allowing yourself and choosing to be a part of this experience. I'm your host, at True Him, and I would like to remind you all that life is a very precious and very fickle thing. And you never know when it's going to be your time to go. And one of the experiences I remember from Lauren, who passed away, she had called me the day before, and I didn't pick up the phone. And who knows what that phone call could have did to alter the course of what happened. And so I say this to say, never waste a moment, because you don't know what's going to happen on the other side of that moment. And so when you are living life full and powerful, that's how you never waste a moment. And I have to say to you that you have plenty of moments that the world would love to see. And that's what we're here at the Human Experience are all about, giving you an opportunity to be able to express your moments and express the compassion that resides within you. Because you matter. And so with that being said, be peaceful, be happy, be productive, and most certainly be dynamic. I'm your host at True Him. Thank you for joining the Human Experience. Namyo Horenge Kyo, Namyo Horenge Kyo, Namyo Horenge Kyo. Rest in power, Lauren.